So I want to talk a little bit about Alabama football, continuing this series of what coaches have said anonymously about what I believe are teams that are expected to compete for conference championships in the Power Five and national championships, really. And we're on to Alabama. And this is a very interesting year for Alabama because I picked them to win the national championship back in January, and I still stand by that, especially if Mac Jones matures or Bryce Young shows that he's capable of leading this really talented Alabama offense, even as they lose Jedrick Willis at offensive line, even as they lose Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs, they're still loaded for bear. Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, and Najee Harris, who I want to get to in a second. But on the other side of that ball, you got Patrick Surtain, who's expected to compete for the Jim Thorpe Award this year. You also get Dylan Moses back on that defense. A lot of the puppies that you had to play, kind of like Texas, are now seasoned vets, and you get the benefit of that experience. You have the 1 year Pete Golden under your belt, so you understand now what the scheme is and what it's going to look like at Alabama. And you still got Steve Sarkisian, who turned down job offers at Washington State and Mississippi State, so he could stay at Alabama. So they have continuity within their staff, and they have continuity at their key skill positions. What's wild, though, is like we're all putting up Alabama's 2019 season as a bad one, right? Because they go 10-2. They went 10-2, and we're like, Citrus Bowl. So what? They beat Michigan, a Michigan team that was actually good. It was real good up until it played Ohio State and Alabama, right? And we're also throwing at Alabama's feet losses to Auburn, which, Bo Nix is not good, so I get that, but it really was. But Matt Jones threw 2 pick sixes, so that doesn't help you. And then friggin' LSU. And by the way, they clawed themselves back into that game to make it look good on the scoreboard. But that was it. You lost to the national champs and the SEC representative in the Outback Bowl. Right? That's it. So as one coach said anonymously, their bad year would earn most of the coaches in the country a raise and an extension. So let's not get too carried away about them taking a step back. They're as well coached as anyone. They have answers for everything your offense wants to do. And if you take the Tua Tagovailoa injury away, it's a very different December and January. And that, I think, needs to be walked out. Because if Tua Tagovailoa does not get hurt, we're talking about him, right, being able to win that Auburn game. Because I don't think he throws 2 pick sixes. The loss to LSU is the loss to LSU. I don't see him throwing 2 pick sixes against Auburn. That's Mac Jones is doing, right? And probably lights up whomever they face, maybe in the Outback Bowl, right? Which would have been Minnesota. Minnesota ends up beating Auburn, and Auburn's a different story, right? But also to add to this, the year Tagovailoa was expected to win the Heisman, when he goes out in the SEC championship game, Jalen Hurts has to win that game for them, and Kyler Murray is able to put on another vintage performance and avenge the only loss he had against Texas in the Big 12 championship game. He still proved 3,966 yards with 43 touchdowns. Tagovailoa is a monster when he's healthy. When he's got both his ankles, when he's not Tiny Dancer, then yeah, he's awesome. But the reason that I am excited about Alabama's offense this year is not Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle. They'll have their say. They'll get their due. It's Najee Harris. Najee Harris ran the ball last year 209 times, 1,224 yards, 13 tutties. Caught 27 passes, 304 yards, 7 tutties. So that's 20 tutties and 1,500 yards running, catching from scrimmage. All right? And as one coach said anonymously, this is going to be a Heisman campaign season for Najee Harris. Go ahead and make your bet. They don't have a quarterback locked in, and their other weakness on offense is turning over receivers here, right? So we think Steve Sarkisian is going to find ways to scheme Najee into everything they can. Najee Harris turned out to be way better than I thought he would be, quite honestly. I'm looking at the rankings, I'm looking at him, I'm going 4.6 speed? We're betting on 4.6 speed? Yeah, we're betting on 4.6 speed, right? Because another dude with 4.6 speed that ended up being pretty doggone good at tailback in college football Maurice Claret. Okay? They won a national championship. All right? You know who the quarterback was when they played Miami and Ken Dorsey and that loaded Miami squad? It's friggin' Craig Krenzel. You don't need to be great at quarterback if you can run the ball and play defense. You don't need to do it. And it certainly seems as if they're going to be able to run the ball and play defense in 2020. I'm really excited about this Alabama schedule for two reasons. I get USC on the front end and Georgia on the front end, so I know exactly who they're going to be to start. Georgia's going to have everything to prove. Because, yeah, this game could end up being a rematch in the SEC championship, and if we're making bets, that's probably what most people would take. But Alabama's still got to play on November 7th against LSU in Baton Rouge. That same November 7th day, Georgia got to go to South Carolina. Maybe they'll try to get their hedges back. No, this is fun. This is a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun because we don't know. And because it's such a wonk year already, if we get college football, how good folks are going to be at college football, how many folks are going to have to sit out games due to virus, that's going to be interesting. Like, I want to know how many Lynn Bowdens we're going to see and if we can see them at Alabama. Because remember, Kentucky was so awful at quarterback that their best wide receiver ended up playing Wildcat quarterback. And now he's going into the league as a running back. He got the Tavon Austin treatment. And nearly single-handedly beat Georgia in the Monsoon Bowl. And then, as the quarterback, beat Vatek in the Belk Bowl, R.I.P. R.I.P. to the Belk Bowl. Many of y'all don't follow the Belk Bowl Twitter account, and it was glorious. It was awesome. I loved it. So now, I'm excited. And if you have to go with no quarterback at Alabama, because let's say Bryce Young, Mac Jones, they get the virus, Najee Harris with direct snaps, I'll take that. Devontae Smith, I'll take that. Jalen Waddle, I'll take that. And you know how it is. If you're a 4-star, 5-star recruit, I don't care what position you play, offensive line, quarterback, whatever, you can probably chuck the football. You know? Like, I'll give me the big boy offensive lineman playing quarterback. Give me another hefty lefty and give it to me at Alabama with Steve Sarkisian having to call plays. Give it to me as Nick Saban is over there yelling into his headset. And then give me Nick Saban, all 5'6" of him, pulling down a 6'6", 320-pound man by the face mask to tell him how badly he screwed up and how badly things are going to go for him in the future here if he keeps screwing up. I want all of this. I want all of this. And I'm not ashamed of it because I love college football for all its wonkiness. It's crazy.